Hey Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. For this episode, I'm going to be doing a review of the PS3 game, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Stories Missing Link. Incredible game, spoiler, but I want to talk about it and kind of explain why it's such a good game. I'll even touch on the emulation side, so while I do own the game, I also emulated it so I can push out good graphics, and I'll even show off the way I have it configured in order to get the best results. Hey, but before we get started, if you haven't, please subscribe, and if you think this is a cool video, give it a like. Check the links in the description for ways you can support the channel, but also join our Discord, and be sure to check Twitter and one of my previous videos about SD Gundam Battle Alliance. I am doing a bunch of giveaways right now, so let's get started. Mobile Suit Gundam Side Stories. I think this came out in 2014, only in Japan. Only in Japan, which is a little disappointing. That also means, even though there is some English, like main menu, VR, even press start, it's really entirely in Japanese. So I'm going to get to some pros and cons later, but mainly the con here is that it's not in English. So what we're looking at here is actually the Chinese version, because even though, again, I do own it on PS3 and it's in Japanese, I wanted to play it on PC in the emulator so I can up the graphics, and that's a Chinese version. In here, you have the main game, you have VR missions, which are just kind of the missions you've played through in the game, just kind of done a little differently. There's options, also a database to kind of look at your things you've unlocked, and then a training. So if you wanted to kind of train up on how to play the game, it's there. All right, so the main meat of the game are these stories here, right? So we've got Missing Link, which there's actually, once you beat the two campaigns, it's Federation on one side, Zeon on the other. It unlocks this middle campaign, but then also once you beat everything else, you get a fourth campaign. Missing Link is its own story. This introduces like the Pale Rider Gundams. I do have a separate video on that, but very cool stuff. Now, once you've beaten that, it unlocks other ones, like Blue Destiny, Zeonic Front, Lost War Chronicles, Cross Dimension, even the campaign from Encounters in Space, where it had the Gundam G04 and 05, I believe. And Rise from the Ashes, the first Gundam game I actually ever played, not even knowing it was Gundam, back on the Dreamcast in like 2000 or whatever. And what's cool is that these are the stories of those games, but they're mechanically different. They play based on the gameplay that is featured in this game, and I'll get to that in a second. So if you're like used to playing these older games where they were kind of harder, some of it was a little more grounded in the feel of being in a mobile suit, that's changed here. And that's not a knock on the gameplay, because I do like the gameplay, but don't go in expecting it to be just like the original games. So when it comes to mechanics, it's what I have a lot of fun with in this game, but it seems a little weird at first, right? I would say the game plays just like GBO2, Gundam Battle Operation 2, except a little faster, and there's a lock-on. So that's a little different. That means when you are attacking, it is automatically going to an enemy. No different than most other games, but what's interesting about this, and this is another con, is the lock-on system. I'll get to that a little later. But as you play the game, you're either ground or space. There's a way to increase your verticalness, if that's the way to explain it, and also lower your verticalness. I feel like there's a more technical way to explain that for like space, or even if you're on ground and you're jumping, you can press a button to descend faster. Yeah, isn't that what it is? Ascend and descend? Yeah. But on top of that, some of the controls are really similar to other Gundam games, right? Like the triangle Y, that top button is melee. It always is. And then with X and B, because playing on PC, I am using an Xbox controller, are some of your attack buttons. And A is the dash. Not only does it allow you to dash around the map, but if you double tap it, you can do a dodge. So it plays just like GBO2 in that respect. Some other little things, if you hold down LB, or one of the bumpers on the left side, it actually then has specials that you can use with your weapons. It allows for multiple lock-ons. It allows more powerful attacks to help you out. And I think the later missions, as they get tougher, you kind of have to do it. And then also what's interesting is you can have up to 3 AI mobile suits with you as you're playing, and you can use left and right on the D-pad to switch between them. And when they die, I think it's 40 seconds to a minute before they can return. So if everyone dies before someone returns, it's game over. Otherwise, you can kind of hide around and wait for your teammate to come back. And there's also like a support attack, so that will charge up, and then you can press down on the D-pad to get your AI teammates to just come out of nowhere from the sides and go attack. So when it comes to gameplay, this is exactly what I want out of a Gundam game. The lock-on system, which I'm going to talk more about, at first it was hard to really grasp that, and I think it got in the way of the gameplay, and in fact I think that could, if there was a way to mod that and change it, I would. But, at the end of the day, I was still able to play the game and have a lot of fun. One key thing here I love is the music. The music in this game is very good. Now, for the other titles, the side stories, it actually takes the music from them, but the Missing Link music specifically is just so well done. I love it, and I think I'm able to use it in YouTube videos without having to worry about any copyright strikes, because I think the music is made to be played in video games, streamed online, etc. So pros, I'm going to go with graphics. While it does look good on a PS3, in an emulator on a PC, it looks like a modern game, and I love it. And even the controls, other than the lock-on system, which I'm going to get to shortly, I think the controls are perfectly fine, and they're great, and it feels good to play. It really just feels like the evolution of GBO2 before it became GBO2. Same studio, same people behind it, and there's a few other games that have had similar gameplay mechanic. Also, the immersion. Another reason why I really like this Gundam game is that I feel immersed into the Gundam world. These stories are incredible in the first place, but being able to play as any various mobile suit and the feeling of being in the mobile suit, even though it's faster than some of the original games it's based on, or even faster than GBO2, it still feels good. So when you've got the music and you have the muscle memory down for the controls, jumping into a map, going all out is just so much fun. Now what's interesting too is as you're first playing this, and this is a pro and a con, you might think that it's too easy. In fact, I was just going through levels, some only take a few minutes to beat, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm done, moving on to the next level. I would say with that, a con is the fact that there's just small, short levels. Sometimes that's fun. If you just want to jump into a map that has a whole bunch of like Zaku's and you want to be a bunch of GMs and fight, that's fun. But sometimes you're just going through the motions, and because it's in Japanese, I don't know what the story is they're talking about. Even though you can play something like SD Generation Genesis and get the story, I think I would be way more fully immersed into this game if it was in English. That would be a dream come true if someday someone, or Bandai, or I figured out how to do it, translated everything, even if it's not a dub, it's text, English text, subtitles that we can patch into the ROM. That would be great. Now, on the con side, we'll start with what I was just speaking on, and that's the missions. Tons of short missions. Some pretty easy, some are actually really hard. There are sometimes specific parameters required to beat a mission, but you have to be able to read the Japanese or what they're saying, and so I'd have to look it up and do a translation, sometimes with my phone. You can have it translate for you in the camera app, to explain to me how I have to beat a mission. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm not supposed to kill this unit. I'm only supposed to kill this unit, or I'm supposed to kind of dance around in a certain area to trigger the event. And because of that, some of these levels can be really hard, especially up against more the boss type foes instead of the grunt suits, where it does require you to learn how to be very quick with boosting, with melee, using special melee attacks. I would say 80% of the game, maybe even 90, is pretty simple. But there's that 10% that is super, super hard. With the emulator, I had to use save states so I didn't have to replay a level, or so that I knew I was at a place, finally I got this far in the level, okay, save state, so then I can try to beat it, which I don't know if that makes me a bad gamer. I don't know how that would be on PS3. So other cons. I would say the lock-on system is the biggest con, because while a lock-on system is okay and I like it, it's an auto lock-on. So it will just automatically lock on to an enemy unless you like press it in a way where you're not facing an enemy to detach from the lock-on. But as you're killing enemies, it'll automatically lock on, and from my experience, it's never been anything that really made sense. I thought it was the unit closest to me. Sometimes it's a unit just happens to be in my reticle line of sight, but it's always random. After I kill an enemy, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to take out this one next, and it would move my reticle somewhere else entirely. So I think part of the game, which in a way kind of makes sense, is you are controlling the lock-on. Think about being in a mobile suit, and there's so many automated processes. One of them is probably targeting. So I think as you're playing, you do have to think in a way where you're constantly targeting, understanding where you're targeting, locking on. That also comes into account when you're doing your special moves, because as you're locked on, that's the only way that then you can hold down the left bumper, or the left button, and then be able to do one of your special attacks, because it requires a lock on. If they completely moved that out and would only lock on when you pressed a button, I would love it. Because if I'm surrounded by a bunch of enemies, I'd rather not lock on and just aim and shoot, aim and shoot, aim and shoot. And then if it's like the long distance enemies or I'm chasing someone, then maybe a lock on. And you know, the other con that I actually spoke of just recently was the language. You know, look, I know English isn't the only language in the world, but you know, this was entirely in Japanese because it was only released in Japan or Asia territories, maybe more specifically. But this is a game that would do well in the West for English speakers. Just the nature of it. There's so many maps, so many missions. There's over 100 mobile suits, I think, with DLC included, which I don't know if I've touched on because I don't know if it's in the emulator. I don't even know if it's available in the PS3 store. But to be able to have the English throughout because the stories are compelling and get a better understanding of what you're supposed to do in a mission. And then as you're beating levels, you can actually go to VR, and they have all the missions here. I mean, I've gotten unlocked up to 81 with a bunch of skips, but that's just as you go through the VR missions that are unlocked. You can see how it jumps from 22 to 31. After you beat 22, you get 23. So you can kind of see how that works. You unlock VR missions, but you go in to beat them to unlock more mobile suits. Yeah, and so looking at the menu here, it's kind of like your gallery, I guess is what they're calling it. You have a BGM player, so you can come in here, buy the music, which I bought all of it because I beat the game. You get a lot of credits. And then you can just sit here and play music, but you can also buy other things. I don't know what this is yet. Some dog tags. I'll have to look that up. And then some story stuff potentially. But really, the cool thing here is the list of mobile suits. And I think I bought nearly all of them. Some unlock as you're playing. And I think the idea is, I guess you buy them here to then have them available in the VR. Not too sure yet, but I just like the fact that they have so many mobile suits that you can choose from. Like, the free looks badass right here. I cannot wait to unlock the Toad Shredder. So hopefully I get to that soon. Yeah, and then when you click on one, it actually gives you some details about it. Oh, and it looks like you can rotate around. That's pretty cool. Yeah, a good way to get the information. You would probably just want to get your camera and do the translation so then you can kind of see what it's talking about. But that's a good way to get information. All right, now I wanted to quickly touch on my configuration for, wow, that text is super small. Hopefully you guys can read that. Even I can't. I have to put on my old type eyewear. So with CPU, I don't think I really messed with anything here. It was all the default. Approximate X float. Here's some other things. SPU threads is on auto. Thread schedule operating system. I don't know what that means, but this is how I have it set. Okay, some other things here. Frame limit, anti-aliasing on auto. Anisotropic filter on auto. Z-call accuracy precise. Shader quality is set to high. So the default resolution is 720, and I have it at 1440, the scale. Now, I get 60 FPS most of the time, but it actually does drop in the heat of battle. I don't mind that too much. As someone that's gamed my whole life, I'm just kind of used to that. But I think if you really wanted to pull, 60 FPS, maybe reduce the resolution scale. And then there's a resolution scale threshold where it's 16 by 16 default. I don't know what this really does, so I've kind of not messed with it. Because there was some issues with the game where some blurring would be too much or be too bright, and it would also reduce the range of how far you can see out. So some things on here: additional settings, right color buffers, VSync, multi-threaded RSX, and asynchronous texture streaming. I think it was the right color buffers that's required to kind of avoid the graphical glitches that occur. So anyway, there you have it. In short, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Stories on PS3 is totally worth playing if you're a fan of Gundam. If you can get a PS3, you can get this game at a fairly decent price on eBay, Amazon, whatever. I don't think it's even for more than the retail cost when it first came out. Just keep in mind that there's no English in it. But on top of that, once you have bought it, if you want to up the game, play it on an emulator. Use your disc, make a ROM. That's how you got to do it. Dump the PS3 firmware, right? Is that how you do it for the emulator to do it legally? Because then, yeah, you can up the resolution, make the game look even better, get that good frame rate, and just have a ton of fun. I mean, I see myself going back to this every once in a while if I want to turn off my brain and just be in some awesome fights, because it's a lot more mobile suits than you'll find in like GBO2 or Code Fairy. So it's fun to be playing against a lot of mobile suits, blowing them up. The space battles are probably my favorite, with the ascending and descending as you're boosting around. Incredible game. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Have you played this game? What are your thoughts? I did see a review out there from a while back where people were bashing this game, but I think it's so much fun. It's incredible. It is totally worth playing. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk later.